Hi everyone! Happy Monday and happy Labor Day. I know that it's a holiday in the United States and in Canada. Today I'm starting stitching this embroidery sample from my embroidery sampler guidebook project, and I'm gonna be stitching 3 leaves today with you. It's all fishbone stitch, and I know 3 ways how to stitch fishbone leaf, and I will be showing all those methods today with you guys. Here is my previous sampler. Just I was testing all the leaves from this sampler last year, I don't remember. So I just was wondering how they all will look like. Though this is most of the leaves we will be stitching. This is how they look like, and those 2 are fishbone stitches, and I will be showing you. I will start from the simple fishbone stitch ways, and there is gonna be a raised fishbone stitch. I'm gonna use 6 strands of floss, so it will show you what the texture this leaf can give. If you have some questions, just ask me, and yeah, let's start. So I'm gonna start this leaf from the top. I made a little knot on the back side, and I'm gonna make a long stitch, but not too long, just to till this point. And now I switch to the left side. I come up really close to the top point, but a little bit down and to the left. And then I put my needle a little bit lower than my previous stitch. But not too much, just a little bit. And the same I will do on this side. I come up really close, so I will fill this entire space without any gaps. And I put my needle down a little bit lower than my previous stitch. I know that you used to do a fishbone stitch probably a different way that I will show later, but this is also fishbone stitch, and I just wanted to show you. So you just continue moving down. One stitch on the left, 1 stitch on the right side. Just move down the same way, and in the comments please let me know if you tried this method already, if you already used it in your work. It's really interesting to know. You can also use some variated threads or multicolored threads, so this leaf will look really beautiful. Truth be told, I was using this stitch before and I didn't know that it's actually a fishbone stitch. And actually I discovered a lot of interesting stitches when I started this sampler guidebook, and a lot of these stitches I tried for the first time, so it's a really interesting learning journey for me as well. And if you're new here, you can also get this embroidery pattern. It's available on my Patreon. This is a kind of embroidery school that I run, and there is a lot of embroidery patterns available already, and because I was posting those patterns during the 4 years actually, and there are more than 80 embroidery patterns already that you can practice different kind of stitches, different techniques, depending on your level. There is something for embroidery beginners, for intermediate stitchers, and even advanced stitchers as well. So when you move down, you just move a little bit down, just a few, like millimeters, like 1 millimeter down, so you will have no gaps between your stitches, and all the leaf will look beautifully. And you see that the direction I chose, it's not like horizontal stitches, it's diagonal stitches like that, so it will create a natural texture of the leaf. I hope I will have enough embroidery threads for this leaf. And here, when you already reach to this point, when you have no space to move down right here, and when you have a rounded shape of the leaf like I have, you just can continue filling the rest areas using like a satin stitch, stuff like that. So this second stitch, I put my needle in the same place where I finished my previous stitch, and I can continue filling this leaf on this, and I stay on this side, and I put my needle right near my previous stitch but on the right side. And you can do it this way. You can put 2 stitches into the same space, or you can fill it as a satin stitch. Few short stitches and this area will be filled completely. And I move to the another side. Yeah, I'm not sure that it's gonna be enough thread, but I hope so. Just a few stitches left to do. And one more tiny stitch, please. Yay, I did it! So I will finish this thread later. And we are switching to the next version of Fishbone stitch, probably traditional one that you probably seen already. Let's use a little bit darker embroidery thread here. So we will have a gradient from left to right, like from light to dark. If you like autumn, you can use some autumn colors for leaves, and it's gonna be like an autumn version of this sampler page. It's gonna look really fun. So I'm threading my needle right now. I also use 6 strands of floss, so you guys will see the texture properly. If you have smaller leaves, you can use 3 strands of floss or 4 strands of floss. And if you have a sharp point leaves on this side as well, you will not need to make so many stitches on the right and on the left side. But yeah, I like this shape of leaves. So I will start the next leaf the same way like I did for the previous one. I took a little bit longer thread this way, and I point my needle Like you can actually put it in the middle of the leaf, see? Like 50% of the line here and 50% of the light line here, like a central line. And we need also 2 lines on the left and on the right side. I will show you why. So I come up on the left, and now I put my needle on the right side and I come up on the left side, right where my previous stitch is. And you can stab like me if you like stabbing stitches. It's a really comfortable kind of stitch to do so. And I come back here, and you can stop from this point as well and come up on the left side right away. And now you can do the same way, just move down a little bit. And this time this leaf will have a bit more volume than comparing to the previous one. Yes, you can see the previous one is kind of flat, but this one is gonna have a lot of volume. And this way is a little bit economical way in terms of using the threads. So you should use less amount of threads if you stitch this way as well, comparing to the previous method. So I just move down and I continue doing this way until I will reach to the point on the bottom. And as you can see, it's also create this kind of texture of the, I forgot the word. Yeah, it happens, especially on live streams. The texture in the middle of the leaf is really beautiful, and I usually don't cover it with any other stitch. I just leave it like that. And especially I like the texture when I use some multicolored or variated threads, and the color is changing, and it creates a really beautiful picture of the leaf. So later this sampler page pattern will appear on Etsy as well, and you will be able to purchase it separately. Right now I'm just making a video tutorials and I'm writing instructions. So everything that I have right now for this pattern and all the previous patterns is available on Patreon. So you can join there and you will get access to everything that I have this project at the moment. You can do it this way. You can put your needle down here and come up separately on this side. Just do it wherever you like, wherever it's comfortable for you. So I live in Canada, and it's just the end of the summer, just the beginning of September, and I already saw a lot of red leaves, and the autumn is really started coming here just when the summer ends and September starts just in time. So I enjoy those changes, and I look forward for more colors on the trees and leaves and everything. I'm really excited to see how the autumn looks like here in Canada. And I already saw a lot of mushrooms everywhere. And I already saw some kind of mushrooms that I didn't see before, actually. Some new mushrooms for me, and I took pictures, and if you want I can post it as a separate post on Instagram with all those mushrooms for your inspiration. Maybe you are stitching some mushrooms right now and you look for some references. After this embroidery sampler, I'm planning to start a new stitch along for mushrooms pattern that I already made. It's already available on Etsy, but I didn't stitch it yet. So I'm planning to do it right after this sampler, and it's gonna be a stitch along. So we will be stitching together. There's a lot of mushrooms in this pattern. Yes, if you don't have like multicolored threads, you can use like Deborah suggesting just use plain colors of threads. Just use 3, 4 or 6 colors. You can start from the light colors on the top, finish the threads and switch to another shade a little bit darker and continue moving down with this color, and you can switch to darker color, and you can create a really beautiful gradient with just plain colors, and it's gonna really look beautiful. It's a really great idea. So I finished this leaf. As you can see, I needed only one stitch from one side to complete it. If you see that you didn't cover the little space on one of the sides, you can add additional stitch on that side. And yeah, this kind of leaf is a lot. It has a bottom, it's like peeking out of the flat area, and it's really nice to touch it. And if your leaf is even smaller and you use about 6 strands of floss, it will create a really beautiful texture. And as you can see, the middle of the leaf, it looks beautiful, so it doesn't really need to so you don't need to cover it with some stitches. I like to leave it like it is. And we came closer to the raised fishbone stitch, and I'm gonna use a little bit darker color. And for this stitch we don't need those two parallel lines, because we will be stitching it a little bit another way. Just you'll see now. So for this leaf, I start the same way. I put my needle in the middle of the leaf and make the first stitch. So go to the left side, the same way, really close, but on the left, a little bit down, following the shape of the leaf. So, and now I put my needle down right in the place where we have the shape of the leaf. Put down here, and I come up on another side. And you can do it the way like I do right now, like sewing, and or you can stab it like this. So this way the leaf will have even more volume. Put down here and come up here. You can use your needle as a laying tool and lay your stitches properly, so you like how they lay. If they are twisted, or you know, it sometimes happens with all 6 strands of loss that they don't like to lay down that you like. And you just move down until you will finish the leaf. Probably this way you will spend more embroidery threads than the previous method, but it is one more kind of fishbone stitch that I know. If you know more ways how to do it, please comment below. It's really interesting to know. Right now I found 3 ways how to do it, so I decided to show all of them. If you like embroidery kits, I have a full kit for this project available on my Etsy shop, and you can purchase it with 20% discount right now. I still have a few kits left, and maybe there is some a few purple and pink embroidery hoops like I use left for you guys. So if you see it available, just order it today right away, because I will not be making any restock. I just selling what I have left, and there is not gonna be any restock for now, at least this year and next year. So this kit has all the fabric that you will need, 12 pieces of pre-printed fabric, and a lot of embroidery threads, which is enough to complete the entire project. And there is some materials like cardboard, paper, and some other materials like beads, needles, scissors, and everything that you need to make a unique soft book with the real leaf samples of all kind of embroidery stitches that I'm making for this project. If you separate the 6 strands of loss before threading the needle, will the threads lay flatter with less twisting? You know, when I stitch with all 6 strands of loss, I like to use all of them together without separating each other, because they originally come twisted together, and I actually like this, because they can lay flat, and when they are twisted they are really even look better, see, when they are like brushed. So I actually like when they twist it, but it's only when I'm stitch with 6 strands of loss. When I stitch with 3 strands of loss, 2 strands or 4 strands, I like to separate them, so they lay flat. But it depends on what kind of stitch I'm performing. Right now I'm doing a fishbone stitch, and I really like when all those threads are twisted so I can see the texture of the leaf. I don't really want to make them look like a satin stitch, you know. But when I want to make a satin stitch, yeah, I separate the threads so they will lay flat and create a satin stitch texture. So yeah, that's why I don't separate them when I use 6 strands of loss, because I just like it. So it looks like I don't have enough threads to finish this leaf. Yeah, I will need to cut one more thread. This thread was already cut, so I had to use it. It's okay, I just will cut additional thread and I will continue. It's interesting to know which kind of stitch you usually use for leaves, like regularly, every day, like when you stitch, which kind of stitch do you use by default? Because there are actually a lot of ways how to stitch leaves, and you can see most of them on my sampler page. I will make a picture of the entire sampler page on Instagram, so you will see it like a complete page. Okay, right now you cannot see it because it's a video and I zoomed in. So see, they come twisted and it's really cute for this stitch. You can also use another kind of embroidery threads. This is kind of threads I'm talking about. You can purl, yeah, cotton purl threads, and they come like one solid thread, and you shouldn't separate anything, and they look like twisted, and they are really good for big leaves, and they create a nice texture. Yeah, this kind of stitch can make your leaf a little bit bigger because you already use that line for the stitches that left behind your top stitches, and when you try to put your needle down the same place, you are like a little bit outside of the line, and it can make your leaf a little bit bigger as a result. But that's fine, it doesn't make it too big. So I came to the point when I cannot continue doing this kind of stitch, so I will just fill each side as a satin stitch. And that's it. I feel with my fingers when I like touch it that this kind of leaf is flat, this leaf a little bit up in the middle, like here particularly, but on the sides it's a little bit flat, but this leaf is it has volume on the entire shape of the leaf, and it gives you a much more volume, and you spend a bit more threads for this leaf comparing to the 2 previous stitches, but it depends which kind of effect you like to get, so you can use the way of fishbone stitch you would like to perform. So I hope you liked my embroidery tutorial today, and I will go live tomorrow as well, and I will continue stitching this sampler. So this is a sampler, and we have a lot of embroidery leaves right here. We have a fly stitch over there, we have a bullion stitch, and we will have 3 versions of satin stitch, and there is a leaf stitch, call it leaf stitch, but it's actually satin stitch, but you can perform it in this way, and this satin stitch, which you can just feel one side of the leaf when you have this kind of leaf shape, and you can outline the shape of the leaf and then fill with the satin stitch. I will show you this way as well. And if you have a rounded shape of the leaf, we can practice tucked satin stitch for this sampler, and we also have detached chain stitch, and there is 2 ways how you can make teeny leaves like that, and there is also cretin kind of stitch that you can make this kind of leaves. And I made a border with leaves like this, and on the last video tutorial I will be stitching the border with you. So this is my sampler, and you can get it on Patreon, the link in the video description below and in my profile. So I hope you liked my tutorial, and you will come tomorrow for the next video, and see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you for joining, and thank you for all your questions, and yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye.